Welcome back to the podcast. Your time to learn and feel a little bit more into what makes you tick, what makes you move, what makes you light up. And one of the ways we learn those things about ourselves is by hearing other people's stories. Now, who I have on today is a very special guest. And we met through one of my dear friends who went through a medicinal experience with her. Now, one of the things I have always been curious about is when I hear about certain therapies, medicines, modalities that are kind of kept under the rug by mainstream, yet when I talk to people, they say how incredible it is and how well it worked for them. And I'm like, wait a minute. These two things are not quite adding up. I go straight to the source. So, what we're going to be talking about today is an extremely potent drug that needs to be administered by a doctor, by a professional. You need to get written consent for it. And what I love about learning from Bronwyn in this episode is what she teaches is how you hold someone during their process of ketamine and how you help them process afterwards, not just the day or the day after, but weeks, months. And anytime we do really profound work, it's never just about what we experience in the moment. It's about how we then adapt in our day to day lives. So, I do not take this conversation around such a potent medicine lightly. I personally have not been called to it. However, there is a personal backstory. I love my uncle so, so dearly, and he was so challenged with so many things. And he shared with me that ketamine was the one thing that really helped him move the needle. Now, unfortunately, it wasn't enough. However, it was something. And sometimes what we need is that something. I also have incredible clients, plural, who have used it to really help get themselves out of deep, deep depression and funks. These are everyone I'm talking about are very intelligent, kind, loving humans. And doing ketamine is no joke. It is no joke. I do not take it lightly that I have this topic on my podcast. So, in talking with Bronwyn, one of the things we talk about is she works with high performers. Now, what I have found, being that I still am a high performer, but in a very different context now, I can tell you that oftentimes high performers, they have very high expectations when they enter into the spiritual world. And one of the things ketamine does, like other medicines, is it kind of like breaks you open, not in a bad way, but it kind of helps you see the reality. But then you're led to further guide yourself on that journey, which can take years. In fact, honestly, it should take years. It should take your whole life, if we're being honest. So, we're going to get into this episode. I would love to hear your thoughts. And I also want to say that the way that I actually, Bronwyn was a referral, but when my friend who worked with her shared her process and her journey, I was really, really impressed. So, as always, feel into what feels good and feels true for you. And when you look for different practitioners, I always like to say, we got to check in with our gut. So, here we go. Welcome, everyone, back to As Time and Space to talk about your energy, to explore different things. And I'm so excited today to welcome my guest, Bronwyn Davis. Bronwyn has an extensive background as a television news anchor, and she's now leveraging her voice to spotlight the transformative potential of ketamine and ketamine coaching. Leading the mental wellness revolution, she hosts the podcast Ketamine Coaching Academy. With over 25 years of coaching experience, Bronwyn has a profound impact on her high-level clients worldwide. Her personal experience with ketamine's life-changing outcomes drives her passion for this transformative healing. She is the visionary founder of the Conscious Ketamine Assisted Coaching and Conscious Ketamine Coaching Academy certification program. Bronwyn, welcome to the Your Energy First podcast.
Thank you so much, Emily. It's great to be here and to speak with you on such a deep level because I know that's where we're going.
Oh yeah, I think there's nothing but the raw, real, and honest nowadays. So, Bronwyn, first things first, let's get into it. What is ketamine?
So, ketamine is a dissociative anesthetic, and it is something that is safe. It is legally prescribed. It has been used in emergency rooms all over the country for years. Like if someone were to be in an accident, they would come in and they'd be given therapeutic ketamine. So
Interesting.
women, children, it doesn't matter.
Right.
That's one of the things that they use there.
Okay.
So it is also on the World Health Organization's essentials list.
Hmm.
So it is safe. It's been used for decades. It's been highly researched, and
Mhm.
everything coming back about it is positive.
Where does it come from? Does it come from a lab, a plant?
Yes, it comes from a lab.
Okay.
Yes, it is. It is compounded in a lab. It is something that is available that comes in different forms. So
Hmm.
there is intravenous, so that's
Hmm.
IV. There's also intramuscular,
Hmm.
which is IM. And then there are what are called troches, which is sublingual, and that's under the tongue.
Hmm.
And then there's also nasal. So
Oh,
doing it
interesting.
intranasal. Yes.
Okay. So, in my personal life experience, I have had clients come to me and I have had loved ones come to me, and they have shared that ketamine was the one treatment that really helped them make big strides in from their deep suffering.
Yes.
Multiple people.
Yes.
Yet, my impression, and I want your professional opinion on this, is that ketamine is still, it's like a scarlet letter of the dosage world, if you will, or of the process world. It just seems to be one of those things that when people tell me they do it, it's kind of hush hush. Why is that?
Well, I think anything that is outside the box, outside the box that we currently have in the pharmaceutical world, it's going to be looked at differently. That doesn't in any way minimize it. It doesn't take away the impact that it has, but it is looked at differently because it's not being um, talked about in mainstream yet.
Sure.
But I say yet because I am very hopeful. I see the vision. The ketamine treatment industry is poised right now to grow 9 times its current size over the next 5 years.
Hmm.
It's going to be in the billion-dollar industry.
Mhm.
And so with that comes more awareness, more education, more letting go of the old beliefs like what we went through in the 70s and 80s with don't do drugs and dare
Sure.
to, the dare program. We've come so far, and yet there's still so much further to go.
So much further to go. So, what I'm hearing is it works because the people in my life who I trust who have come to me and told me that they've done it, all of them tell me it has had really profound effects on them.
It does work. There's no doubt it works, and it works in such a beautiful way. Therapeutic ketamine is a heart opener. And what they started noticing, I shared the story about how in emergency rooms all over the country, this medicine is being used today. And decades ago, they started seeing those in the emergency room who were given therapeutic ketamine as opposed to maybe Valium or some sort of an opioid. The ones who were given the ketamine, they were healing quicker. Their mood was better. They had more acceptance over what happened and why they were in the hospital to begin with. everything, like their mood was lifted. And they started noticing that more and more. Well,
Hmm.
that's when they started doing more research on how therapeutic ketamine helps with mood and mindset.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they've done thousands of studies since where it's like proves time and time again. Therapeutic ketamine helps with depression, anxiety, PTSD, OCD, disordered eating. I mean, addiction. I mean, on and on and on.
Yeah. How did you personally come to find ketamine as a solution for you?
I personally experienced it now over 4 years ago, almost 5 years ago, when I found myself in severe burnout.
Hmm.
So I am a certified high performance coach. I've been a coach for over 25 years, and I've coached over 4,000 one-on-one high performance coaching sessions. So I say that to kind of set the stage because at the time I was working with 25 to 30 high performing clients per week.
Hmm.
And so that in and of itself was very
That's a lot of work.
demanding. It's a very
Yeah.
lot of energy.
Yeah.
On top of that, though, I was the target of identity theft. So it was like a cyber attack where just all my accounts were hacked. And this cyber attacker just wiped out everything. So weeks and weeks and weeks of unraveling that. At the same time, even though that the attack was not personal, I took it personal because I felt violated.
Of
I felt
course.
like, so I didn't sleep for weeks. In the meantime, my resistance was getting low. I remember not wanting to leave my house because I was just afraid of getting attacked. I didn't know, it
Sure,
was
sure.
all very like this personal thing that was going on with me. So on top of that, because of my resistance was low, I also got long COVID.
Mm.
So on top of now the cyber attack, the long COVID, and then I was diagnosed with skin cancer on top of that. So it was like all of this was coming together. And there were months where I was not able to function. I had to let go of all my clients.
Oof.
And I hired a naturopathic MD, and she's like, all you get to do is rest. And being a high performer, I'm like, what does that look like? Like, I have no idea. To me, it sounded like a prison sentence because I
Right,
was like,
right.
what? And she's like, just rest and do things that you haven't had time to do, like, paint and write and do this. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I don't know how I'm going to do this. She also recommended at the time, some conventional talk therapy.
Hmm.
Well, again, being a high performer, I'm like, okay, if I'm going to do this, I want to get this done and let's move on. Like,
Yeah,
okay, I'm
yeah,
done with burnout, let's go. Well,
yeah.
so I sought out a conventional talk therapist and did an intensive program. It was 2 weeks, speaking to them every day for 4 hours.
Wow.
Imagine that. Because I just thought, okay, I'm just going to get this taken care of and move on. Well, I remember after 2 weeks, I remember thinking to myself, that was good. I mean, I did everything, went into my childhood, talked about all the trauma over and over and over and over again.
Mm.
But I remember thinking that was good, but I'm nowhere near back. So my naturopathic MD guided me, and she recommended I look into alternative healing modalities, and one of them was therapeutic ketamine.
Hmm.
And at this point, I was desperate. I was absolutely desperate because I couldn't be there for my clients. I couldn't be there for my kids in the way that I normally want to be for them. And I thought, I have nothing to lose here.
Mm.
I mean, and at the time, I didn't drink, I don't do drugs. I mean, that
Right.
this was so far out of the box for
Right.
me.
Right.
But in that, so I sought out a guide because I wanted to do it responsibly, I wanted to do it safely. I sought out a guide, had my first experience with therapeutic ketamine, and it was life transforming.
Mm.
With one dose, I got to see very quickly in one afternoon, I got to see very quickly what was holding me back, what was keeping me small and not really speaking my truth.
Mm.
And ever since that, I remember coming out of that session going, I will never hold myself back again. And anything I want to do, I know I can do. And time is of the essence here. So stop procrastinating and stop letting things go by. Let's go. We're here to do some work and let's go.
What was the integration piece like? Because when you go through traditional talk therapy and then you try this other supportive way to help get you to where it is you desire to go, and you have such transformative results, what was it like for you the following days, weeks, even months after your initial treatment?
Yes. Well, that's where the magic happens, is in the integration. I like to say integration is 90% of the experience. The experience is 10%. Yes, the ketamine helped to activate my neuroplasticity. That's what ketamine does. Okay. So
Interesting.
it helps me to rewire my brain and helps to start bringing in new thought patterns and new ideas. But the integration is hands down where the action is. And
Yeah.
so after that, being a coach, I coach myself through a lot, but my
Mhm.
guide also was there for me, helping me process, like just like I do for my clients. She
Right.
wrote down every word I said while I was in the medicine.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to go back over that the next day, and she shared with me everything that we talked about. I got to like process it and, look at it from this different lens now.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so clear that I just knew this is the direction I'm going. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna, it was so clear that I made that vow on that day that I was never gonna let anything hold me back or live
Mm-hmm.
in fear anymore, that it was like full steam ahead.
Did you find yourself, you said full steam ahead. Did you find yourself still on that path of that you were on previously? You just had a new direction. Did you find yourself integrating some of the things you do enjoy in life, like the painting and the rest and all of that?
I will be forever changed by that experience. Yes, because in that I got to see very clearly, although it's full steam ahead, that means though not running myself into the ground, doing it in a way that serves my highest and best good.
Yeah, yeah.
So I stopped the fear, because it was clear in my first session I was running on fumes from fear.
Absolutely.
Fear that was behind me. Fear like I am just gonna run myself into the ground, work late, get up early, get going, like over and over and over.
Yeah.
So then when I had this experience and I got to see in my experience the bliss and who I truly am, it was more from that point on this calm confidence. I was grounded into this deep knowing of who I am, which helped to stop the frenetic fear of driving myself into the ground.
It's very powerful. That's very powerful. You know, when I think about the systems that we've all been brought up in, I can completely understand how it can take an act of God, an act of a drug, to actually really help us. You know, the inner work is lifelong work. And then to have this something, you know, for some people, there's all different types of modalities. And in this case, we're talking about ketamine, but I can see how it's something that would be quite liberating for people. Now, you and I have a wonderful mutual contact who has given us permission to share that we have this contact and who also sought out your services. And when they were telling me about their experience with you, I was very touched by the reflective questions that you had, by to them that were just were so powerful and insightful. And also from the point where you physically welcome them into your space to make sure that they understood where everything was, that they felt safe, the entire process. So talk to me a little bit about, because some people are going to feel or are feeling called to this medicine, and what do you recommend someone looks for in a practitioner when it comes to administering this drug?
Well, safety and feeling safe are going to be the number one things.
Mm-hmm.
And also trusting your intuition. If you're getting creepy vibes, then trust it. If you're
Always.
getting like, oh, I feel good here, I feel good in this space, I feel safe in this
Mm-hmm.
space, then trust that. The
Yeah.
reason why I do what I do, from the moment my clients come into my office and into the door, I'm working on their nervous system, because the more safe that they feel, the more calm their nervous system is, the deeper they're going to be able to go into the medicine. So, as a practice, I invite them into my space. We walk around, I point things out, I show them every room, because we have the whole building to ourselves. I do my
Mm-hmm.
retreats for my clients on Sundays where it's just quiet, no one
Mm-hmm.
else is in the building. And then I show them every room. I open up a door and say, this is our sound bathroom. This is where we do therapy, Reiki. And it's not because I'm sitting there wanting to give them a tour. It's more like because the nervous system is looking, and if I weren't to do that, there would be a part of them in the back of their head going, what's behind that door? What is that?
Mm-hmm.
What's
Mm-hmm.
going on? And they'd be on hyper alert.
Right, right.
So I'm doing everything proactively to help them feel really, really safe. Now, in looking for a practitioner, there's a big difference between going to a ketamine clinic and doing something like the way I work with my clients. Going to a ketamine clinic, in general, they are there all about the medicine. They are most likely anesthesiologists or some sort of a doctor who is all about the medicine.
Mm-hmm.
Very little, if any, integration.
Mm-hmm.
So it's about them coming in, they get put into a 12 by 12 room, they're hooked up with IV ketamine, they're left alone in the room, and they're monitored. They're getting monitored, their blood pressure and all
Mm-hmm.
that. But none of that more deep contact to help them feel safe in this room all by themselves as they're having their experience. Then the nurse comes in or the doctor unhooks them. They walk out, they get a ride home, and then they go back into the same place, their same house, the same people who did not experience what they just experienced, and they have no one to speak to about it, no one to process it.
It's a big, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, so when I saw the original model, I was like, Oh no, that is the furthest thing from what I want to offer my clients. So I go to the extreme opposite, and that's why I put the emphasis, the 90% is on the integration.
Yeah, I can see that. Our mutual connection had what they're calling a spiritual awakening. I'm saying they just to protect whether or not it, I just, um, and so now they're on this journey, this search of, how do I communicate more with my spirit team? How do I use my intuition to make more guided decision making? And so I can see how this is something that would really open people up in a way where it's like, okay, and how do I apply this in my day to day? And I'm
Yes.
just talking, because I do the energy work piece, of course, that's the part I'm focusing on, but it's shifted their relationships, it's shifted a lot of things, a lot of
Yes.
things. The
So
integration piece.
yeah, and that's my expertise is exactly what your question you asked. How do I integrate this into my day to day
Yeah.
now? And that's the biggest difference between a ketamine assisted psychotherapist, which is CAP, KAP,
Okay.
or ketamine assisted therapy
Mm-hmm.
compared to ketamine assisted coaching.
Got it.
Two completely different things. Therapists in general, they take their clients where they are today and they look back and they go back into their childhood, back into their traumas,
True.
back into their stories.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a time and place for that. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I have had, a therapist off and on for decades, and there is a time for that.
Absolutely.
Ketamine assisted coaching is very different. It's we take our clients where they are today and we look forward. We're
Mm-hmm.
future focused.
Mm-hmm.
We are looking at how do I take this information that I learned during my therapeutic ketamine retreat and apply it and anchor it into my everyday life moving
Yeah.
forward.
Yeah. That's so beautiful. I have to share with you too. This is in my own personal practice with clients, I'm noticing I'm being called to guide people more to have these energetic, like seeing, like they can see energy. And always it's been about moving the person forward. Now, I also believe that it's not always about moving forward. So that's a really important thing to note. So let's talk about what someone may see or perceive during one of these experiences. Now, I personally, as someone who's extremely sensitive, and I already see energy, when our mutual contact shared their experience, they said, "Is this what you see?" And I said, "I see this on a daily basis." I say, "That's a regular thing for me." So, what is it that someone can expect to experience when they're inside the ketamine medicine?
That's a great question. And I will say, everyone's experience is going to be different. Now, there are some things here we can look at. Therapeutic ketamine is an opportunity to connect with your higher self. So we operate, let's on average, we have 60,000 thoughts per day. All of us, every day.
That's women, right?
95% of those thoughts that we have every day are the same ones we had yesterday, the same ones we had the day before, the
Yeah.
month before, the year before.
Yeah.
Okay. 85% of those thoughts are negative. So it's no wonder we find ourselves stuck at times. Okay. So when we access that subconscious in a therapeutic ketamine retreat, we are accessing the subconscious. So we are getting answers to questions in our lifetime that we have asked. We get to see the answer. because it's uninhibited, it's unfiltered, and we get to see it through the eyes of love because ketamine is a heart opener. So I have clients who come to me that go, I'm afraid like maybe I'm gonna see something that I don't want to see, or I don't want to remember something.
Mm-hmm.
That is there is a possibility that they may not see that.
Mm-hmm.
But even if they do, what I see from my clients, first off, the very first thing my clients say is, wow, that was so amazing. That was so much better than I thought it was going to be. I shouldn't have been afraid of it. Second of all, if they do go back and look at that memory again, it's from such a different perspective because their nervous system is not in fight, flight, or freeze. They're
Mm-hmm.
looking at it through love. So they're looking at it very just matter of factly, like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, isn't that interesting? Like, I know for me personally, I carried something with me for decades. And
Yeah.
that the tone, the feeling tone of what I was carrying with me is, ooh, I better be good because otherwise I'll upset people. I'll upset them. They'll get angry. So I tiptoed. I like lived small, tiptoed, was very safe. And that memory came back from when I was 3 years old.
Wow.
And so in my first ketamine experience, I saw myself as the little girl, the 3-year-old girl, and I was wearing a little yellow dress, and my dog was right here by me. And that is where the root of that thought started. The reason why is what I didn't know or what I had blocked all these years was that I was sitting on the floor and my parents were just off my peripheral arguing. They were fighting.
Mm-hmm.
And so it wasn't until I was in the therapeutic ketamine that I was able to get this different perspective of wait a second, I'm I'm not even really a part of this conversation, but at 3 years old, I took it on as, oh my gosh, if I'm too much or if I'm too loud or if I'm too anything, I'm gonna upset my parents.
Wow.
So when I got to see that and see that perspective from like a different vantage point,
Mm-hmm.
I was able to right then and there reframe it to say, this had nothing to do with me. I was not doing anything. It's nothing to do with me. I don't need to carry that anymore. And that's one of the reasons why, when I came out of the experience, I was like, I am never going to let anything hold me back or have me play small again. There's nothing to fear here.
That is so powerful. Tell me a little bit about what people share as to why they sign up for this. What is it that they're experiencing, or what is a desire, like what are some of the common desires they have that they come see you?
Yeah. I would say the one of the biggest is that I work with high performers. I've again been a high performance coach for 25 plus years. So the clients who come to me, they maybe are experiencing high functioning anxiety, maybe high functioning depression, or their thoughts are just looping, kind of like what I talked about. We're having the same thoughts over and over. And they feel like they're starting to notice they are the ones who are keeping
That's good.
themselves stuck.
Mm-hmm.
So they come to me because therapeutic ketamine is a beautiful medicine to help you get clarity that is very difficult to access in your daily life because
Yeah.
we're all running around on, hamster wheels. So it's
Mm-hmm.
hard to slow down. So they come to me really knowing there's another level for them. They know intuitively something is keeping them stuck, but they can't access what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just ready to move forward. The moment I share with them the difference between a coach and a therapist, they're sitting there going, I've already done that. I've already been to a therapist and spent years and
Mm-hmm.
decades doing that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm ready to move forward.
Oh, well, I'm so grateful that you're bringing this healing forward in a way that's really resonating with people, very much so.
Thank you.
So, one of the things that you and I talked about offline is obviously ketamine is something that is because it works, it's going to start really driving people to that. I mean, this is, I wouldn't say play a drinking game, drink your water, but how many times are we going to say medicine on this podcast? Anyway, but it was going to really drive people to the medicine. So, again, we were talking about when someone's looking for a practitioner, like, I just want to emphasize it's one of the reasons that you and I connected is because you found the solution for yourself, for your life, and it's something that you want to share and teach other people how to do. And we all know that because of this mass conscious awakening, people are going to be seeking a lot of different types of support. So you've put together a wonderful program to help people who want to be administrators and guides through the ketamine process. So do you want to talk for a minute about what that program is?
Absolutely. Thank you. When I went through my first experience now, again, about 4 years ago, at the time, there was no such thing. There was not an industry called ketamine coaching. It was all about the therapy piece. So after my first experience and after being a coach for 25 years, I came out of that and I was like, oh my gosh, I've got to bring this to my clients. So I did everything I could. I went through an extensive and intensive training. And in my training class, there was a doctor, therapists, teachers, like I was the only coach. And so I came out of it not knowing really how I was going to be bringing this all together.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, there was a moment when I was like, wait a second. First off, it was hard to believe no one had thought prior to do ketamine and coaching together.
Mm-hmm.
But at the time, that did not exist. So I thought to myself, am I the one who is going to be bringing this out into the world? Well, the answer was yes, because who am I not to do that?
Mm-hmm.
So
Love it.
very quickly, when I started offering it to my clients, I created conscious ketamine assisted coaching. That is my private coaching business that I do
Mm-hmm.
with my private clients with
Mm-hmm.
therapeutic ketamine. But very quickly, I started seeing that I was not going to be able to keep up with the demand. There was
Sure.
just no way.
Yeah.
And I also saw very quickly in the beginning stages of what it would look like as more and more people were wanting to experience therapeutic ketamine. And I wanted them to have a place to go. If they truly wanted it, I wanted them to feel safe and have the impact as well. My tagline is grounded in safety, guided by compassion.
Mm-hmm.
And those are values that I hold very strongly. So like you said, anyone can go anywhere to get this. But I wanted to make sure those who wanted it safely and with compassion that they had someone to go to. So early on, after being a coach, I created a whole curriculum for my clients. It's a 30-day integration with the ketamine retreat, preparing for it. Everything is included. And the more I was doing it with my clients, I was seeing these huge breakthroughs in 30 days.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's when I got the idea I need to be training others to bring this into their practice if they so choose. If their clients are asking for different healing modalities, I wanted to make sure that if they asked for ketamine, they were going to get it in a safe way.
Yeah.
So I created the Conscious Ketamine Coaching Academy. It is the only one in the country specifically for therapeutic ketamine and coaching. There are others out there that it's therapeutic ketamine and therapy, psychotherapy, but this is
Mm-hmm.
the only one that caters to coaches. And the biggest surprise out of all of that is those who have been coming to the students who have been going through the academy, they're doctors, they're nurses, they're health and wellness practitioners and coaches. So it wasn't just, coaches coming that are wanting to do this. These are medical doctors that
Yeah.
want to learn this different model of working with the medicine.
It seems as though we're realizing that there is no magic bullet, that it's all a part of our greater experience, and that to your point, the integration piece is the biggest part of it. And that's what you've created with your programs. So thank you for doing that and bringing this forward and bringing it forward into this world. So where can people find you?
They can find me. My website is ketamineassistedcoaching.com. I want to offer all of your listeners on my website, there is a free clarity call. And I'm here to answer questions. This is kind of where we are in where we are. We're on a crest of a wave, and here's the wave. But we're back here on the wave.
Right.
Okay. So a lot of this is more of like educating people. We're
Yeah.
educating them on this beautiful medicine. So sometimes people have questions. So I'm here to answer any questions. I'm here to see if it's a good fit. I work with clients all over the country. And so what that looks like is they fly in just for the ketamine retreat. They'll fly in, spend, a couple evenings here in Scottsdale, Arizona. But we do all the preparation. We do the preparation by Zoom and we do all the calls after the ketamine retreat. We do them over the phone. So
Interesting.
once they've been here for a few days, we've had their ketamine retreat, they go back home and then we start the integration
Mm.
by phone.
Do people ever do it together, like with a small group or
Absolutely. It's beautiful in a group.
ima-
Absolutely.
imagine that in lieu of a bachelorette or bachelor party? That
Yeah, they do it in groups. It's profound work being done. I've started doing groups. I even work with couples. So where couples come together and do their therapeutic ketamine retreat together. And then they do the integration together. And then I've also started putting together groups of like high level women, like high performing women, so that when I perfectly curate a group, I put them together so that I know that they're going to have synergy.
Yeah. It's interesting. You've mentioned the term high performing, and I think based on my own experience, high performers, it takes a lot of time to reestablish yourself outside of the modern construct. They always want to perform, hence the term high performer, at all costs. And it's one of the most challenging things for them to feel safe in their heart. So, very excited that they have this. Thank you
Yes.
so much, Bronwyn. This has been such an enlightening conversation. And again, thank you for bringing your version of this medicine into this world.
Thank you, Emily. I have loved this conversation. And anyone who wants to get a hold of me, I would love for them to just know my email address. It is Bronwyn at bronwyndavis.com. Of course, they can go to my website, they can schedule a call with me. But if they just want to reach out by email, I'm here for that as well.
I appreciate that so much. We have a wonderful group of listeners, and so I know anybody who reaches out to you is going to have some really good questions.
Awesome. I love that. Thank you
All
so
right.
much for having me.
Thank you. And thank you, our beautiful listeners, this incredible Inner Light community across the globe. Thank you for being here and bringing all of you into this world. It has been so great to connect here. If this episode resonated with you, please be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who you want to have more of these chats with. As you move throughout your day, remember, your energy is your superpower. As you pay attention to it and trust it, you can watch your entire life begin to transform.